Welcome back to Boomer's Playground, and today we'll be going over coding exercise 25 from the Colt Steele Web Developer Bootcamp. So this one is just about arrays. You guys have just started the arrays section, so this is really just creating an array. So let's get some practice creating them. It's telling us the name to use, so what you'll see is a lot of people will use let for arrays because of the whole const versus let thing. And I'm not sure if you guys watched the previous video where I went over const and I kind of explained how const and let are a little different for arrays and objects, but let's go over that super quick just in case you didn't see that video. So a lot of people will do let lotto numbers, and this is not wrong. There's really nothing like, and I'm doing air quotes, I don't have my camera on me, but there's nothing wrong with this. But what happens is, like I said, a lot of people will do that because they think, oh, hey, I want to change this value. I need to make it a let. Well, what we have to remember is arrays and objects are actually just pointers to that spot in memory. It's not the true value like a number or a string is. So like if I do const a equals 6, a is actually 6. Like that's actually the value in a. Whereas if I were to do const b and do an array, demi, even though, and this is a little further down than you really need to know where to go with JavaScript, but I just want you guys to kind of understand the broad concept of it. Even though if we do b, we do get what we expect, this value is not actually inside of b. B is just pointing to a spot in memory that holds this array. So for example, we'll do c equals 6. So now a and c are the same, and then we'll do the exact same thing for a. Playground, and we'll do demi. Okay. And there are a lot of interesting things about arrays that you're going to go over and you're going to get into, but I just want to show why this matters. So a equals c, this is a true value because, again, this value is actually put into the variable. Since D and B are just spots in memory, every time you create something like this, it takes up a spot in memory. And then I create this, it takes up another spot in memory. So those are going to be two different memory addresses. So most people would think B equals D would be true because, well, they're the same thing. When in actuality, we're really just comparing the memory address, not the actual array. So you'll see this is false, even though a lot of people would be like, oh, that's totally true. And also, like, so we have b, which is a const. We can do, push, Colt Steele, and we can do that, and it does add it to b, even though it was a const. The only thing const doesn't let you do with arrays is we did const b. We can't do b equals a new array, like 1, 2, 3. We can't do that because we've already created b. But when we're just adding on, that's not considered recreating it. So you can use const. Again, let isn't necessarily wrong, but I would definitely use const with an array. That way you don't mistakenly overwrite it somewhere else in the code. So I'm sorry for that little side tangent, but that's just like a quick deep dive on arrays. So, all right. All right, so create an array containing 6 numbers, and they don't care what numbers. So an array is denoted by the open and closing square brackets. And then you can just, any value in there, you just separate them with a comma. And the cool thing with this is, unlike some other languages, you can have any amount of types in here. So there are some languages where when you have an array, it can only have one data type in it. So like an array of strings, or an array of numbers, or an array of arrays, or an array of objects. But JavaScript is pretty chill, where you can have, if I can type, Apparently you can't. No, you can. You could have an array with numbers in it, with letters in it, with, you know, another array in it, with an object in it. JavaScript does not care. So that's kind of cool. But let's just satisfy the test here. So we have 6 in there. Again, they said they didn't care what the numbers were. So like just for fun, what we can do, just to prove that it really doesn't. Nope, can't do that. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so that's 6. So this should pass. And it does, which is awesome. And really all the test is doing, and I only know this because we write test at work, but all the test is doing is just doing and making sure it's 6. So again, they didn't care what numbers. This was pretty basic. We're just creating an array, filling it with numbers. Again, you can use const. You don't have to use let for arrays. And well, again, while it's not wrong, I would not use let for an array. I would always use const. Same with objects, but that's it for this exercise. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. Otherwise, like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next exercise.